Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall to Chelsea, let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video, and this is a transfer special about Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, who Chelsea are currently pretty heavily linked with. So in this video, I'm going to go through what details we know about the transfer so far and where it has progressed to, as well as what his key attributes are, and look at a pretty in-depth analysis between him and Conor Gallagher, who is the player that I think that he would be replacing, and then finally, whether or not I think that this deal makes sense for Chelsea. So getting right into it, Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall currently plays for Leicester City. He's on contract with them until 2027. Chelsea have made initial contact. It's rumored that perhaps Leicester have some concerns with the profit and sustainability regulation, so Chelsea might be looking to pressure them and get a deal done by June 30th, or as early as June 30th, in order to try to get a better price for him. Leicester currently rejected a £30 million bid, not from Chelsea, for the player. So I think that Chelsea would probably be looking to pay around 30 to 40 million, but that's just me purely speculating. Taking a look at the player, Dewsbury-Hall is seen as the perfect fit for the type of player that Chelsea want to have under Enzo Maresca, playing in that 8. And of course, he's familiar with Enzo Maresca because he played under him at Leicester City this past season. So you have some obvious advantages here, that he did really well last season. And Dewsbury-Hall was key for Maresca last season. He made 49 appearances and started 41 out of 46 games. And that really tells you that he's reliable and robust, something that Chelsea have been desperately looking for over the past 2 years or so, because it seems that all of our starting 11 is constantly out injured. So if you have a player that can stay fit, that's going to be absolutely massive for Chelsea, given all of the injury concerns that we have. We absolutely cannot go by another injury-prone player. He scored 12 goals and got 14 assists last season, and oftentimes was the key difference maker in this Leicester City side. And you have some key advantages that obviously he's the type of player that Maresca is looking for, because he's already played under Maresca, so he's going to know what's expected of him, and he's going to be able to slot into this Chelsea team hopefully pretty seamlessly. So now let's take a look at Dewsbury-Hall and Conor Gallagher, because I do think that for whatever reason Chelsea want to sell Conor Gallagher. They want the pure profit for him, and it just doesn't seem that he's in their vision. For the record, I do think that Conor Gallagher could do a great job in this 8, but let's compare the two players and see where they stand. First off, they were both key players for their respective sides, and I'm looking at Premier League or Championship appearances, just like the domestic league, not all competitions. Dewsbury-Hall played 44 games versus Conor Gallagher's 37, and he started 41 of those games, with Gallagher starting all 37 games. So you can see right off the bat that both players were really integral to the side, and players that the manager really relied upon week in, week out. Looking at goal contributions, Dewsbury-Hall has over twice the amount of Conor Gallagher, with 26 goal contributions to Gallagher's 12. He scored 12 goals and had 14 assists last season, with Conor Gallagher scoring 5 and assisting 7. Now I do think as well this is due to the position and just instructions of the team. We know that Conor Gallagher is massive in the middle of the pitch, and it wasn't necessarily his job to score goals. I feel like he did start scoring more goals towards the end of the season, and Chelsea as a whole just had issues scoring goals, but I feel like Conor Gallagher also had this massive responsibility of putting in the defensive work, so that also could be a reason why his goal numbers are quite lower. Now I want to take a look at progressive carries and progressive passes, because here's where I think that it gets interesting. So if you don't know, a progressive carry or pass basically has the same definition. It's progressively carrying or passing the ball at least 10 yards in the last 6 passes, or any carry or pass into the penalty area. For progressive carries, Dewsbury-Hall had 158 compared to Conor Gallagher's 62. And for progressive passes, he had 272 versus Conor Gallagher's 172. So we can really see that Dewsbury-Hall was very focused on progressing the ball, on moving it forward, on seeing how he could move forward, if he could always be passing forward. And that's something that Chelsea have historically struggled with, and I think that you can almost see it reflected in Conor Gallagher's numbers. But realistically, I think any of our midfielders midfielders' numbers, you would see it reflected in that, because Chelsea have been guilty of just passing the ball and trying to keep possession instead of moving the ball forward. So I think that maybe that could even be something to get excited about with Enzo Maresca and seeing how he's instructing his players and how it comes off. In terms of shooting, as I mentioned before, Dewsbury-Hall had twice the number of goals as Conor Gallagher, but let's take a look at their shot creation. He had 87 shots versus Conor Gallagher's 48, 30 shots on target versus Conor Gallagher's 17, but surprisingly they had a pretty similar shot on target percentage, with Dewsbury-Hall having 34.5% and Conor Gallagher having 35.4%. Dewsbury-Hall was averaging 2.15 shots per 90 with 0.74 shots on target per 90, with Conor Gallagher averaging 1.38 shots per 90 and 0.49 shots on target per 90. So you can see here in terms of shooting and shot creation as well that Dewsbury-Hall did outperform Conor Gallagher. Again, is probably due to the responsibilities that each player had in their respective sides, but looking at these underlying stats, it definitely does make me excited by the prospect of Dewsbury-Hall. But that brings me to the question, do Chelsea actually need him in the system? And my answer is probably not. I am a big Conor Gallagher believer. I think that he could be given a job. I think that he's very versatile, and that if you give him instructions, he's going to be able to follow them and change his game, and we've seen that before. So I don't think that we necessarily need coverage in this area. We also have a ton of other players, especially young players, that were brought in for this purpose, and maybe they're not going to be the end-all be-all for this season, but you could use this opportunity to give them some game time and allow them to develop, and then from maybe 2025 onwards, you have a more settled side. So you have Chukwuemeka, Endry Baez, you also have Andre Santos as well, so you have a lot of players for this 8. So if we were to bring in Dewsbury-Hall, it does kind of feel like maybe you would be bringing him in for this season, and then you would have one of those younger players come in, or at least have coverage. So I don't really get it, knowing that we have Conor Gallagher. I feel like there's other areas where we could be investing in or trying to upgrade, and I don't think that this 8 area is one of them. It does feel like a very Maresca appointment, and him trying to get one of the players that was key for him last season into this Chelsea side. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Chelsea are heavily linked, so I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see this transfer go through. I think he's a great player, so I would be excited to see how he plays, as I am for all of the new signings, because I'm always going to support the new signings that we have for Chelsea. But do I think that it's the player that we need at the moment? Probably not. But I said that about Cole Palmer, so you just never know. What are your guys' thoughts on this potential transfer? Let me know down in the comments. Hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like it, comment, all of that good stuff. Hope you have a great rest of your day, evening, whatever time you're watching this. And until next time, I'm out. Bye!